So now I know that's been a little bit of a start, right? Tonight was supposed to be on just memberships, but now what we're going to do is jump into lesson 2, because lesson 1 was to take action and be accountable for yourself, your family, and your business. Lesson 2 is salon and spa memberships. The lesson will be broken up in over 3 weeks. This week we'll discuss software and pricing. Next week we'll discuss contracts and selling memberships. And on the third week, we'll discuss how to pay stylists or different stylist pay systems, as well as tracking forms and a FAQ, which is frequently asked questions. So, memberships. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is software. So the first part of a membership is having a software that can handle a membership, right? Makes sense? Yes? So with that membership, we recommend RosieSalonSoftware.com because they built our membership system into their software and they're constantly evolving. You might have another software. I'm not telling you have to change softwares. What I am telling you is that you need to have a software that can handle memberships. There are a lot out there that can handle memberships, right? Yes. So the first question you have to do is call my software company. Hey, software company, can I do memberships on your system? Okay. The second question you need to ask them is, okay, you can do memberships, but do your memberships allow automatic recurring payments? What that means is on a monthly basis that the customers are charged automatically out of their bank accounts without you having to manually run the charge. This is very important. When you get to 800 or 1,000 members, you cannot physically manage charging them manually. I learned this in my first salons. We got up to, I don't know, 800 and something members on a 9-chair salon, and it got absolutely crazy. And I am telling you that software can make or break you. So if you have software, make sure they can handle these things. There are a few out there. Like I said, we recommend Rosie Salon Software. Millennium or Mevo handles memberships. Booker, or I think it's they just got bought out by somebody else, right? They handle memberships, and there are a couple others, but those are kind of the main companies that we have worked with and worked with customers that are able to do memberships. So make sure that's allowable within your software. Now, again, we don't recommend software, so you're going to have to call them and say, listen, we're setting up a membership system. I need to know what your capabilities are. If you have any questions, drop them in the group, and we'll go back over them, whether or not that can work with the systems, right? The next one we're going to talk about is price. How to price or frequency of visit, etc., right? It's very important that you know this before you develop membership pricing. And this is kind of the key to this whole system. You might have saw my post earlier that this is the $500,000 formula, right? So let's keep it secret within the group because you're paying for it and a lot of members aren't. If you are paying for it, then I suggest you hold it close to your vest because we don't want this spread outside of our existing members, or you don't want a competitor learning what you're paying for, right? So here is a calculator. Now, the calculator is going to be shown inside of the forms that I'm downloading tonight inside of the group. But before we get into the calculator, we'll talk about a little bit about membership again, why it works, right? Some of you already have memberships. If you have a membership, I want you to revisit this training. You may need to increase your prices. You may need to make some adjustments since you've already put the membership into effect, and you can do that over a short period of time or a long period of time. But keep this in mind that these are important facts, right? So a membership in a nutshell, the things it helps, right? Attracting clients, retaining clients, managing costs, and it keeps you from pandering to your employees. Now, why it keeps these things? Number one, it fixes the customer retention issue because the client's under contract with the salon. Number two, it fixes the cost management problem by having guaranteed monthly payments coming in. Number three, it fixes the issue of getting new clients because of the unlimited service perception. Now, what I mean by that is people are going to talk about it like they talk about a great gym membership. I can go in whenever I want. So they're going to refer their friends. Number four, no more client and walkouts because the client is a member. So what that means is the stylist, even if they have a walkout with stylists, you still retain the clients because they're under contract. So the stylists are going to be very hesitant about walking out and continuing with their clients because the clients are going to have to pay both places if they leave. So, right? So it makes sense. So here's the golden formula. We're going to talk about this a little bit. These sheets will be available for you to calculate everything. Okay? So we're going to go through it step by step. To calculate membership price minimums, you must figure out your hourly cost. I don't know how many of you have figured out your hourly cost. And what that means is, what does it cost for you to keep the doors open in your business with a profit per hour? Think about that a second. How many of you have done that? Okay, bear with me. I got to take a sip of water. Parched. So to calculate your hourly cost, I want you to use this formula. Okay? The hours per week. So how many hours are you open per week? Times 52 weeks, divided by 12 months to get your monthly hours. In this case, we'll use an example of 234 hours a month. Next, what are your fixed costs per month? Now, fixed costs are your rent, your utilities, your products, on, right? Those are all your non-payroll costs. And you should know what they are on a monthly basis. If you don't, then I encourage you to download our income dashboard, which will break those down for you. I'll post it in the group in case you haven't done that. Some people get scared by looking at that income dashboard, but use it as a motivator because if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going, okay? So in this case, we'll use our fixed costs as $5,000 a month. That might be a little low, but I just use that as a roundabout number. That, again, that's your rent, utilities, credit card costs, all those good things. So next thing I want you to do is, what is your monthly payroll? So what your monthly payroll is, weekly payroll times 52 divided by 12 equals your monthly payroll. In this case, we'll use an example of $18,000 a month is the monthly payroll. Next thing, so now we figure out the hourly using the examples above. So the fixed cost was $5,000 plus payroll, $18,000, divided by the amount of hours, right? 234. So that breaks us down to equal $98.30 an hour. So we know that our salon or a spa, whatever it is, right, needs to generate $98.30 an hour just to keep the doors open. That's why this formula is so important. This part has nothing to do with memberships because you need to know how much you need to generate without even a profit just to keep the doors open. Super important. I can tell you that 98% of owners don't even know that number right now, okay? But being that now you know how to calculate it, you're empowered. So now what I want you to do is I want you to go down and look at the next avenue. The good stuff, right? The membership calculation. So we're going to first divide the cost per hour by service providers, right? So this is your cost to keep the doors open per hour. Now you need to break that up by the service providers. So if you have if you have 5 stylists or 5 technicians, that's how many you need to divide it up by. If you have 10, same thing, right? So it's very simple formula. You just divide what your hourly cost is up by your service providers. Okay. Now, this formula is going to account for fluctuations in that, and I'll show you why later on. But right now, we need what it is for the exact amount of service providers you have as of today. So we take first, divide the cost per hour by service providers. Again, right? So cost per hour was $98.30. Service providers, in this case, we have 8 stylists or technicians, whatever the case might be. So now we have our cost per hour divided by service providers. That divided by that equals $12.29 an hour as our example. So now we know that each service provider has to generate $12.29 per hour, right? Makes sense. That's our base rate. That's our cost plus our hourly pay for that employee, or our percentage for that employee. Doesn't matter. This is the cost to keep the doors open per each provider per hour. So now that we have our base per hour cost of $12.29 per provider, and now we need to add in our profit, because this is just our cost. So now we need a profit, right? So typically we like to double it, the same as a product. So in this case, it would be $12.29 plus 100%, or $12.29 per hour times 2, which equals $24.58 an hour. So we know, based upon those service providers, to double our to 100% profit, right, on top of wages or whatever, we need $24.58 an hour. With that in mind, we now go on to the membership price calculator. So now that we have our hourly cost of business plus profit, we can calculate the memberships. Our research, and many of you know this already, we've done hundreds of salons, so we have a good feel on our average frequency of visit. Frequency of visit is how many times a client comes a month, or in this case, a week or a day, right? On a membership. So what we've developed is, we know that it goes from 1.5 to 2.5 service hours per month on average. So take that right down the middle. So it's 2 service hours per month. It's not 2 visits per month, it's 2 service hours. And this is important. The reason it's important is we just broke everything down to our cost plus profit per hour. So it's not per service, it's per hour. And this is how I want you to think of things. Not in services, I want you to think of things in hours. What does it cost me to keep my doors open an hour? What does it cost me to keep my doors open plus a profit? And how do I charge a membership based on the fact that the average client is going to come in 2 service hours per month? Those 2 service hours might be a combination of 4 blowouts. I don't know if they're half-hour blowouts, right? Could be a combination of a single process and a blowout, a haircut and a blowout, whatever the case might be. But the average client uses 2 service hours a month. Okay, so based on that, we had a base hourly cost of $24.58 with our profit, right, from our previous sheet, and we need to multiply it by the service hours used, in this case, the average of 2. So the formula is hourly cost plus profit times 2 equals, in this case, our example would come out to $49.16. Now, knowing that our base membership price is $49.16, okay, that builds in a 100% profit margin over your costs. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but you'll understand the math if you keep thinking about it. So knowing that our minimum we can charge is $49.16, we set that as our base level for memberships. Now, by our base level, right, usually our first level of memberships is blowout memberships. So in this case, we average it up a little bit, right? So the formula might look like this. Unlimited blowouts for $49.99 per month, right? Couple cents more, but $49.99 sounds like a good number. It's less than 50. Perceptually, people go for those 99 type scenarios, and they work, okay? Now, what I teach and what I want you to know is, when you're doing your memberships, typically each membership is doubled as you go up. Has nothing to do with profit margins or anything like that, because we already know our base price is going to be this, the $49.16, or the base price membership of $49.99. Now, this is what blows people's minds. Unlimited cuts, singles, and blowouts. This might be your next membership level, which is the most popular membership level. Okay? Now, it comes down to how many times can you cut ahead, how many times can you die ahead, and how many times can you blow out ahead, okay? So basically what it's going to come down to is you might get a cut and a blowout plus another blowout a month, or you might get a single process and a blowout. It just works out that the formula works to 2 service hours a month. So if you're getting on average right now, let's say you get $60 for a single process, which is roughly the average, right? 60, 65. You add a blowout on top of it, might be $30. So let's say you're at $90 or even $95, right? That customer is going to come in an average of 6 to 7 times a year. If you don't believe me, go back to your book, and the average client is going to use those visits. So let's say it's 6 times a year at $90, okay? That's $540, okay? You're charging for that same membership $100 a month, okay? That's $1,200. Sounds cheaper by the membership, but in actuality, it's almost double the price of what they would normally spend. So this is a scenario where perception works, right? The perception of unlimited works, and I want you to remember that. It's all about perception. If you start selling these memberships as unlimited and treating it as a factory, people will perceive it as being cheap. If you treat it as a VIP membership, and this is something that you can use, but only because you're a VIP, and then you add on special things like maybe product specials or ladies nights, or, and I don't want to use ladies nights because we also have barber memberships, but special nights at the salon that are only open to VIPs. And then you broadcast that out to your whole membership base, and you say, members only night, right? How are members going to perceive it? They're going to perceive it as if this is awesome. I get so much more for my money, and I can go whenever I want. So that is the key to all these formulas. Now remember what I said earlier. This formula is highly confidential, so guard it from others as you are paying for it. And I really, really mean that. A lot of people have tried to copy our systems, but what they find out is they start limiting the amount of services and things like that, and they end up failing because they don't know how to put a pay system in place with it, and they don't know this formula. So tonight's lesson is developing your formula. So what I want you to do is homework. I'll put these sheets in the group. I want you to develop your pricing formulas. I want you to come up with your hourly cost, and then I want you to come up with your membership levels. They're here. It's very easy to figure out by these formulas, but I want you to develop your own. I want you to share it in the group, and I want all of us to talk to each other about these, because nobody here in this group is competing with each other. We actually do it by zip code, so nobody's competing with each other. So let's share it. Let's get it done. Let's be successful. Here's a sample membership. Of course, this might change, right? The blowout, $59.99. In this case, we did a blowout, different price, right? You can have a men membership or a membership, right? And men memberships are a little bit less because you can get them done in a considerable less time with less product. There's a whole theory behind that. All-inclusives, you can add all-inclusive memberships, which would be the next level up. Find out that price, but you can literally offer anything that's available, usually except hair extensions, obviously, and a bottle club. So this is a big one, right? So a bottle club is a product membership. Think about this. Not only can you offer services, but you can get into product memberships. And what I mean by product memberships is that you can take your 2 favorite products home every month as a client and pay a monthly price, right? So think of Harry's Shave Club or whatever, right? It's all the same. You pay that monthly amount. The client comes into the salon. They take their two favorite products. Boom, gone. So by doing one sale in the beginning, you sell 12 months worth of products or 24 products. Now, typically the way you would do that is to pick two products off your shelf, generally the higher priced products. So in case the client's grabbing those products, and discount them by 20% each, and that would give you your monthly fee, right? Because there's no labor behind it. So you're given a 20% discount on product sales, but you're selling 24 pieces at once, and the stuff's blowing off the shelves. As soon as it starts blowing off the shelves, you go back to your manufacturer and say, I want a discount. I'm selling more than everybody else. And you could do the same thing with your color memberships. For instance, when we were selling color, we used Wella, okay? When we used Wella tubes of color, we were getting up to 1,000 tubes of color a month, more than distributors could handle. So they went directly to us and gave us $7.25 a tube color for $3.85 a tube. So the power of the membership is strong if you use it properly. Now, we'll go over this in a later lesson. Like I said, this is, I think, either the second or third lesson, stylists pay. But a typical stylist in this system earns more money. I'm not going to get into it in detail, but they get bonuses, they get tips. The tips are usually double the amount they would normally get because the client feels that they perceptually that they haven't paid. So they're guilty about not giving the stylist more money or spending more money on product. Okay, in closing tonight, the files will be under the Files tab in the group. So all these homework things, everything else will be in the Files tab. So if you don't know where the Files tab in the group is, usually on desktop, it's on the left. On a phone, it'll be on the top right, but you're going to need a desktop to usually implement these files, right? Use them. So on a desktop, you'll see a whole list of different tabs for the group. It'll be under the Files tab. The videos will be under the pinned post. The pinned post is at the top or under announcements in some cases in Facebook, and I will list them out as they go so you can click on them and go right down to them. I also want to say good night, and I want you to stay motivated. And remember, prior to all this membership stuff, I taught you probably the most valuable lesson in being an owner, and that's to take action. Take action without fear. If you take action before the fear, you will succeed. The problem is most of you aren't calendaring stuff. You're reacting to stuff. Take action before you react, okay? Important lesson. So at this point, I'm going to stop the share, and we're going to jump up over to a Q&A, and hopefully this technology will work where I can hear you all in the Q&A. If not, we can follow up with questions in the group. Let me just unmute everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try and do one at a time as we hear each other talking, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, who's first up? Questions?
I know you mentioned about calculating your cost, and if you're not aware of it, what's the formula to find out the exact cost of your business?
Okay, so if you're not calculating already what your rent is, what your everything, your payroll, all of those good things, I will post a sheet in the group that actually is an Excel sheet. Are you familiar with Microsoft Excel?
Yes.
Tamara?
Yes.
Okay, so you can download this sheet, and it's a dashboard for you to keep track of all your expenses. It will go through all of your expenses, and you can just plug them in, and it will calculate it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
So I was gonna ask the same question as Tamara because I'm solo also. I'll
Okay.
use the sheet. I'll use the sheet and see what happens there because it's just one employee. And
Yeah,
we'll see from there.
Stephanie, listen, with this system, it doesn't matter whether you're a suite renter or you're a salon with 20 employees. It basically is all the same. You're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, right? So your costs are your costs regardless. Some of those your payroll is going to be what you draw as a salary in this case, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You still have to build all of your profit into those things. And you need to know as a suite renter what it costs you to run your business an hour, right? Because your eventual goal, Stephanie, is to not be a suite renter, it's to be a salon owner, I'm sure, right? You're going to
Right.
want to have employees someday to, so that your employees can support you to earn a living. Yes?
Yes. Right. Exactly.
Okay. So one of those things you'll see is it's the Salon Ops dashboard. I'll put it in the group and you need to fill it out. And I want all of you to share these things with everybody, right? So, and what I mean by that is the group participation is important. I want you to drive each other inside of this group. There's a lot more people that have joined but didn't participate tonight because of their schedules. But if we all keep track of all these lessons and start gathering the participation, we can push each other to get outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just curious because the suite life, it's like I'm not there every day and all day. I'm just usually there when I need to be there. So with that hourly, like what does it cost an hour to be open? Does that apply only when I'm there?
Of course. How many hours are you open, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're open 2 hours, you're open 234 hours a month. It's
Right.
still,
Okay.
what is your hourly cost?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So
You're
Derek,
welcome.
if you're open less, let's say if you're, so how do I word this? Will your operating costs be more if you work less hours? Like, will your hourly cost be more if you work less hours?
Well, Paula, that all depends on what you're paying the employees, right? If you have a $10,000 a month rent and you only have 2 employees, obviously your hourly rate's going to be a lot more, right?
Right.
So, but none of that matters. What matters is that you know your hourly cost to keep the doors open.
Okay.
If you have that as a base, you know where your membership should be. If you add more employees, you can always adjust. Never adjust down, but you can adjust up, right? So, obviously we're not going to give away our profit if we're already adjusted above. But you need to know your hourly rate. It's super duper important. I've dealt with some of the biggest salons in the country. I'll give you for instance. I coach Mark Garrison Salon in New York City. There are stylists bringing in $6,000 a week. And you know what? If I ask them what their hourly cost is, they can't tell me. Well, they couldn't until I started coaching them, but now they know it down to the minute.
Yeah.
So these are kind of important things that you need to know as a business owner. You can't just guess at it and see what's left on a Friday. You need to know what I need to make way ahead of time. Remember what I said earlier in all these lessons. Take that sheet and be active, not reactive. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, awesome.
And going to the action report, can you delve a little bit more on that? And like, I'm a little bit confused as to how I would fill that out. That just
Sure. So the action report, Paula, was developed. I know you in a while. I was a Marine, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to give you an example. In the Marines, if we came back from a combat mission, okay, we had an after action report, right? Which in this case, we would look at as last week's report as a salon owner, right? What did we do last week? That's the first section, okay? Then we had what our ultimate goal was. Let's say it was to win back a province, right? So in this case, as a salon owner, what's your ultimate goal? Is it this year to make $500,000, or is it to add 3 more employees? Whatever it might be. Those are your big goals. They go in the middle area, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then the last area is your front sight focus. What am I doing this week to focus on those goals altogether, right? So I want you to be crystal clear every week and go to that front sight focus and say, these are my action items for this week. I'm not going to let anything else in the world distract me, period. I'm looking down the barrel of my gun, and this is the target I have to hit.
Okay. So, so potentially it could be the same actions week after week for something?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be, right? Until you're driving towards that middle goal. But you got to, if you're putting those same actions, then in last week you got to say those. So your first section, right, where I'm looking backwards, my after action report, I'm going to go, okay, so even though they were the same actions in the bottom, then my after action at the top is going to say, okay, I accomplished this or I accomplished that kind of thing. And this is the lesson I learned by it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Derek, this is Tamar again. If I could just ask one more question.
Sure.
I'm an esthetician just like Stephanie, and I'm looking over at the membership. Would you be able, or the other people in the group, give me an example of the 3 different memberships of what you would put in it?
Yeah, so let me say this first, right? So it may not be 3 memberships. It could be 10. It could be 2. That's kind of on your play, right? What you want to combine. The majority of salons offer 3 or 4 membership levels, okay? And the group, I want you all to share with her, please, in the group, if you have a membership, your different membership levels, so she can get ideas. But what it comes down to is every membership is customized for you. I have salons that offer, Tamara, what's your specialty? Esthetician?
Yes, esthetician, I specialize in acne and pigmented facials and also in Brazilians.
Okay, so with that in mind, right, you may have a few different levels of membership. We have spas where it has level 1 might include a basic facial, level 2, a facial with exfoliation, those things. You have to decide what you want to include in those memberships, and you can run them by me and the group, right? But remember, the costs of those memberships are typically, when you figure out your hourly cost, doubled to your base, and then you bring them up from there, okay?
Okay.
And once you come up with some samples, the group and I will review them, and we'll say yay or nay. That's why it's great as a group, right? We have peer input here where we can all get together and say, that sounds great. I don't think me as a salon owner, I don't think I would go for it. I'm not all knowing as your coach. That's why it's great to have a group, because we can all participate together to lift each other up.
Thank you. That helps a lot.
Okay, awesome. Micheline, you're quiet.
Today I lost 16 members between last week and today. I lost 16 members to the salon suites.
Okay.
They gave me no notice. I definitely know my hourly rate. I definitely know what I need to do. My biggest for me is confrontation, but I have 10 stylists that are willing to work with me. So tomorrow I've been kind of like not an absentee owner, but not behind the chair owner. I run my business, and I still have 10 people, and they're all on our team. So, I'm thinking now, what's my action plan? I have to throw out an email, but I'm, being very kind. I'm not being, malicious. I'm going to wish them well because, you know, they want to have entrepreneurship. I think the way they left was kind of crappy, but you know what? I feel like I feel lighter. I feel like I've lost some dead weight, and I'm looking forward to growing, and I'm anxious to get started with your program. So, you know, we'll just go from there.
Awesome.
This is not going to define me.
Yeah, what I want you to, it shouldn't define you. What I want you to do is remember action, right? Not
Right.
reaction.
Right.
Okay? So you already have that mindset. So let's move forward from that. Okay,
Right.
there are emails. We can say, great, they've decided to be entrepreneurs, and I can help you with that. And we can send those out, right, to say, hey, we taught them. We'd love you to remain here. You know, congratulations for them on being an entrepreneur. But we're still here. And if you ever at any time feel like you miss our atmosphere, we're here. That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But let's move forward with some new systems that you don't have to deal with this. And I can tell you, we have a couple, obviously, young entrepreneurs in here that are just starting off in their own suite rental businesses. But remember what they're saying. Their ultimate goal is to grow that into a salon.
Right.
Right? So knowing that, we know that it's not the suite rental business. We have to move forward with systems that allow them to be more entrepreneurial within our system.
Right. I'm excited. I mean,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to a new beginning, so it's okay.
Awesome. And I got to tell you, the membership systems, as an individual, you can make $100,000 plus a year. As a salon, you know, many of you probably saw the post I did earlier. This is a $500,000 plus a year idea for a salon. I had 800 members in my salon, a little more actually, but they were paying on an average $100 a month. So on 9 chairs. So you can do the math.
Wow.
We're doing $100,000 a month on 9 chairs. That's like unheard of in the industry. But it's not where you can't do it. It's easily done. It takes work. It takes goals. It takes filling out those sheets on a daily basis, right? And taking action.
Now, Derek, I know that a lot of people talk about, you know, like I said, I'm the solo esthetician. They want to become salon owners, but I really don't want to become a salon owner. I really want to stay on my own. I mean, is that, I guess.
So the answer to you is anything is open to you.
Okay.
You want to be on your own and you want to set your own hours. You're still a business owner. And the potential for this system, being a business owner, regardless of whether you have 10 people or yourself, as yourself, I've had individual solo artists make over $100,000 in this system. And it just works.
And that's
It just does.
perfect for me. That would be the perfect amount.
Paula?
Yes, I'm still here. No,
Okay. I thought you had a question.
No, I was just thinking about, I guess I still have a lot of work to do because I'm not even, I mean, I can bring in pretty close to that, but with expenses and stuff, you know, I definitely don't net that.
Well, Paula, you're growing, right? So
Yes, I'm still growing. Yes.
Yeah, you have one employee, right? So,
Yes.
so I know this is getting a little bit outside of the whole membership theory, but as you get to 80% booked with yourself and employees, you should always have another employee waiting in the wings.
Yeah, and
That's how you grow a business.
it's getting close to that point where I'll be ready to hire another person soon.
Exactly, and that's the system. You know, a lot of salon owners jump in or they do things and they ask me when to raise prices and things like that. It's a pretty easy formula. When you are on an average of 80% booked across the board, you need to raise prices, okay?
Yeah.
If you're 80% across the board, you should also be hiring a new stylist if you have room to do that, if you have a chair. So that's how you build a salon. It's not a magical formula. A lot of the gurus go out there and they say, oh, it's very simple. If you're and it could be lower than 80%. Actually, it's probably around 70% on for a yearly average. Bring on a new stylist if you have an empty chair, and then continue doing what you're doing. And if the existing stylists are averaging around 80%, you need to raise prices. You need to raise prices if they hit that, and you need to raise prices if once a year, regardless of whether they hit it or not, because prices go up every year.
Right.
You know, I have salons that insist on charging lower prices, and I get so angry because everything in the world goes up. Every year it's going up and up. Yet I have salons that are not in a busy area that are able to get away with $150 haircuts. Why? Because they've taught their consumer that every year everything goes up.
Yeah.
Okay. James Alba, I see you're muted for some reason. I think you have your mic muted on your side. There you go.
I got you. There you go.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How
So
are you?
here's,
So
I'm good,
James
man. I'm
is
good.
From, James, you can introduce yourself from the salon movement and Green Circle Salons. Many of you
Yep.
already are members of Green Circle Salons.
Yeah, so I'm in good old New Jersey in this nice thunderstorm tonight, finally cooling down from our 110-degree weather the past 2 days. So it's much nicer now. But yeah, Derek's right. So we're sort of sustainability focused and sort of adopt the same principles of keeping clients in the chairs. If you can't, you can't recycle all your used hair color and foils and do all these things that are great environmentally if the business can't stay open, right? So yeah, it's definitely paramount. But I have a question for you, Derek. We don't do memberships now. You and I have talked about this a lot, so I'm always really curious about it. But how do you handle the availability component? Because, even now, leading through the summer, getting ready, and we're starting to do our planning for the fall. Like August, I'm completely booked for the month of August already in the salon. The first 2 weeks of back to school in September, completely booked out. And we're trying to have a planning meeting tomorrow morning to get clients to book their appointments straight through January. So we're trying to be proactive in it. But with the memberships, with the availability, I'm assuming you could treat it as a standing appointment, correct?
No. So in the memberships, and Paul is already using the memberships, but I'll reiterate. The memberships, we allow 2 appointments on the book at a time, no more than that. And what we tell them is that our computer system will only allow 2 on the book at a time. And it's pretty easy to do. If you were to do standings, what I would suggest, if you are that booked out, then if they want to be a VIP membership, you don't have to have, let's say, 3 or 4 different memberships, right? In a case where your salon jam-packed already, I would integrate a VIP membership where it's actually an upcharge than what the normal charge would be. And those clients would maybe get standing room for VIP treatments or VIP nights. So you're going to give them a little something extra, Jim.
Yeah, well, what we're going to keep tabs on as part of our, our reporting that we're going to do back. You have the last couple of weeks of July. Our salon closes for the middle week of August, salon-wide. So this way, staff takes their summer vacation all at the same time. We have 13 kids to our stylists of our group of 10 people. So there's a lot of people with kids that are home for the summer. And then we sort of jump right into pre-booking all the way through the end of the year. So what we're going to test is something along the lines of the VIP. We're trying to bolster our in-salon treatments. When you get really busy, it sort of gets forgotten. Product sales go down a little bit because everybody's busy, and your add-ons and upcharges tend to dwindle a bit because people are so busy. So we're trying to build that in.
Yeah. So along those lines, right? Let's say we had a VIP membership, and the VIP membership it's the creme de la creme. We only have one, right? Let's say we offer those to 2 products. You take 2 products home in a month in that membership, and you get VIP nights, right? Wine and cheese nights, and you might call in a psychic or whatever on those nights, but they're only for the VIP members. It's a way to while you're not, so a lot of you are building, right? So when you're building, these memberships are good to build. When you're fully jam-packed and you take these memberships, you take it to the new level. And the new level is VIP, right? And you can have them in your salon already. But when you take it to the VIP level, you take it up and you give them something they haven't gotten. So they are like, in the old days when we used to have cards to go to nightclubs, right? And they were membership cards, gold card, whatever, right? You probably remember this, James, right? You go to New York City, line, whatever, right? So those VIP memberships are no different. You got to give them stuff that just blows their mind and takes it to the new level if you are jam-packed already. But the value has to be there for them, and the excitement has to be there for them, but you have to make sure that you are at least making a 50% profit on all those things that you're giving away.
I like it.
Makes sense?
Does, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you one question, Derek. I am not ready to do the membership thing tonight, but maybe in the next couple weeks. When the membership has nothing to do with, like, my stylists are on a level system. So whatever their value is, that's what they would get credited for, regardless of what the client has paid.
So by level system, you're saying commission, correct?
They're commission stylists, right? And they get, their price points, are not, it's only a few dollars between level 1 and, level 4A. Because I've been a Summit Salon since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so I understand what you're saying. So the way the stylists get paid typically is what you can do it on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. They would just get a percentage of that membership.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, because I use ADP as my processing company, so it would just be additional income.
It's a little more work and we have a membership tracker sheet that'll be in the group lessons for tonight, how to track that, right? But what we typically say to owners is convert all your stylists to an hourly base rate that's guaranteed, and then put bonuses on top of that. That'll be part of this system, I think, in the second lesson.
Okay.
And now by saying that, I don't want you to have your stylists running around with their hands in the air. Oh my God, they're changing my pay. Basically, all it does is take the percentage of their last 6 months and break it down into an hourly rate that's guaranteed. So they're actually better off so that their pay doesn't fluctuate all the time. Right?
Gotcha.
So, and they have the ability to gain bonuses on top of that. And when I converted our salons were, all over the place, anywhere from 30% commission to 60% commission before I knew any better, right? Because now I know that you should never pay more than 38% commission.
Right.
I converted them into hourly, and I would say probably 90% of the staff said, yeah, I want to go with that. The ones that didn't want to go with it, I let them stay on commission. And, obviously they weren't allowed to take members. And after a while, they would raise their hands and say, oh my God, everybody's making more money than me. I want in.
Right.
So, there are ways to outsmart the stylists. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Well, and on that note, Derek and I had talked about this, some laws that had changed in New Jersey, or started to change with the paid time off. So I don't know if anybody else is from side here where we are, but we had to switch over to hourly anyway to calculate that. We use ADP, so it was a really easy transition.
Yeah,
go ahead, Mickalene.
I'm thinking, I'm not, right now I have to baby my remaining 10 because they're all in shell shock.
Yeah, you remember, do not want to upset the apple cart. So,
Yeah.
So there are coaching companies out there, we'll call them, many of you know them, and I'm not going to bash them because they're great companies.
Right.
They have strategies, right? Strategies tells you to go to team-based pay. Convert everybody tomorrow to hourly rate, right? So our system, what I suggest is you convert the ones that want to, and then the rest will jump on eventually.
I hear you. We'll be talking more about this, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure, right? And that's why we're all here also, to grow together and learn together. Listen, I've been doing this a long time, and I was very successful at it, and I'm successful as a coach, I hope, because my job is to lead you and make you feel uncomfortable, and then make you comfortable with taking a leap of faith. Because if you don't take action, there is no action, right? So that's all part of the process, and we're all here to do this together.
Oh, excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions before we call it a night?
I'm good.
Nope.
Awesome. So next week we'll start talking about some more of the add-ons to the membership, like I said earlier, and then the following week we'll finish up the membership. Your homework for this week is to do your action sheets, share them in the group. I would also like all of you, I'm challenging you, and it's pretty exciting stuff. Come out of your comfort zone and do a quick Facebook Live in the group. Just share a little bit about yourself and what your goals are. And then next week we'll get back on it. Sound good?
Sounds
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Everybody have a great evening. Remember, take action.
Thank you. Good night.
great. Good night.
Thanks. Good night. Good night, Derek.